Crash Course Crayon, yeah!
Thousands of years ago, the Egyptians built the pyramids, but they didn't have any tests. This is to their detriment. In fact, many of the pyramids they built, you look at them today, they look very impressive. They're these massive, beautiful, perfect stone triangles of pharaoh godliness.
Build me a pyramid, something that looks nice, but not too nice.
These pyramids aren't nearly as impressive when you realize how many times they failed until they figured out how to build these pyramids. They did it through trial and error. They did it with slow tests, manual tests, human tests. So when you build a bad pyramid, people get killed.
Kill them.
That's bad. All they had to do was call human resources, and then more human resources would appear. We shouldn't build it that way. Let's try building it a different way. And it took them hundreds of years, centuries, to figure out how to build the perfect pyramid. Unfortunately, we often build our software the same way. We write a big pile of code, we put it up there, and then it falls over. This is about how do we test drive all of our code, not just our units of code, but all of our code. And you do it with a pyramid. The test pyramid has 4 fundamental layers. The very bottom, the base of the pyramid, are the unit tests, the unit test suite that you write to validate that all of your code does what it needs to do. You've written a unit test, and then you wrote code, and you wrote more tests, and you wrote more code. And you've got this wonderful piece of code. It's perfect, it's beautiful, you test drove it, it's awesome. And then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do it again. And you've got all these collections of units of code, and you put it all together, and it doesn't work. Why? You need a test that tests that your code works together, not that your code works. You need an integration test. This validates that all your units of code work together in the way that you expect them to. But then you take these chunks of modules of integrated code, the server-side code, the client-side code, and they're not working together either. You haven't tested that those work together. You need another layer of tests around it, and that's your automated acceptance tests. That's the third layer of the test pyramid. These are tests that go through the deployed application, they go through the user interface, push buttons on the browser, and make sure your application does what you think it does. At the very tippy top of the test pyramid, exploratory testing. The all-seeing eye of the exploratory tester pokes and prods the application to see if they can find anything wrong that isn't caught by any of the other tests, which is a manual thing. Make sure it looks good, make sure it does things. Exploratory testing is testing by slow meat puppet humans like us. These things together allow you to solve the problem of permutation. See, if you tried to go through the front end of the application and test all the options, all the combinations, every possibility that that application could do, you would come to the heat death of the universe before you ran all your tests. There are just billions and billions of combinations, Carl Sagan. And so you just can't do them all. And so you have to build a hierarchy. And so at the base, you test your units of code. In the middle, you test your units of code working together. Almost at the top, you test your application in a deployed state. If something can't be tested there, you have a human do it. And you have fewer tests at the top and lots of tests at the bottom. And that hierarchy solves this problem of permutation. Together, this is the test pyramid.
Let my people code.
Little known fact, the largest pyramid in the world is not in Egypt. It's in Las Vegas, Nevada. And now I'm gonna head off, enjoy some time with Nefertiti, have some grapes, be fanned. Thanks for listening, my loyal subjects.